Okay, good morning, good afternoon, actually. We are talking and having this discussion in the backdrop of this entire speculation that may Prashant Kishor really join the Congress party. And I'm going to be focusing on a larger question is that should political strategists actually join political parties? And if they join political parties, does it really help the party that they are joining? Joining me now, of course, is Prabhakar, a Bihar bureau chief, and Dilip Cherian. I mean, a man who wears many different hats, but someone who's a minute makeover guru. I'm going to come to you first, Prabhakar, because you know Prashant Kishor very closely and you worked with him. So, do you think there's any possibility that Prashant Kishor now has political ambitions and therefore he would want to join a political party and that too something like the Congress?
See, as far as Prashant Kishor is concerned, I see Prashant Kishor as the post West Bengal election in the West Bengal election. So there are two Prashant Kishors we are dealing with. After the West Bengal election results, Prashant Kishor is a completely changed man. Now,
Mm.
nationally, if you see the political parties, the political leaders, they have all started taking him very seriously. And it was very brave of him actually to kind of put up a statement, if you remember, before the West Bengal elections, that he would actually cease to do whatever he does if the BJP crosses gets into the three-figure number, and he kind of proved that. So that was very brave of him. So you are dealing with a completely different man. As far as political ambition is concerned, he would never divulge it, never say it on record. We all know that for sure. But what we know for sure is that Prashant Kishore is certainly interested as far as the Bihar politics is concerned. And now you are
Hmm.
seeing he's in a completely different role. Prashant Kishore nowadays, you see him meeting likes of Rahul Gandhi, Priyanka Gandhi, or Sharad Pawar for that matter. So he has become a name around him. The entire opposition, I would say, the country's opposition is rallying behind, and Prashant Kishore has earned this actual reputation after his performance in the West Bengal elections. So, Pallavi, from what I see and from how much I know him, he would certainly be. You'll see him in the political fray very soon.
That's very interesting, but he's had not a very good experience as far as Bihar was concerned. Dilip, you know, he's been a man who's done in an image makeover, right? From the Modi times, the Mamata Banerjee, the Stalin, and all those factors. He's been very, very successful. Do you think it makes sense for someone like him to join politics? But more importantly, I mean, what does a political party even gain by having a political strategist as one of their netas? I mean, isn't it better if they have him as a political strategist? For example, the Congress could use his services perhaps to, boost up their fortunes.
Pallavi, the bare fact is that Prashant Kishore is a man who's always had politics on his mind. Uh, the phase of running the IPAC and making it an operationally advantageous thing for the elections that he's managed is now done. So he can say that he has a proven track record. Whenever
Hmm.
I've met him in the past, I've always felt that this is a man who feels that he wants to make more change than is possible from a adversary role. Now, should a political strategist like him take on a political role? It really depends on his life cycle. If he feels that he's been there, done that, a whole bunch of national elections, state elections, etc., what is there to look forward to as a political strategist? Now, for the Congress, does it make sense to have him inside your tent or outside? The answer very simply is today the Congress recognizes that it also is in a makeover mode. Because it is in a makeover mode, all options are open. So what you thought was going to happen in Punjab turned out to be completely different. What you're going to be seeing
Yeah.
in Rajasthan in the next few days may turn out to be completely different. So I think all bets are off on conventional politics as it used to be. And I think that's the point that Prabhakar also makes, that there is a huge shift that's happened, and the shift has happened for Prashant personally, but also it coincides at a time when the Congress believes that it is in reinvention mode.
But Dilip, the point is that look at the Congress party. There's so many people there, so many egos and ambitions. Why would they want to and accept a Prashant Kishore? Wouldn't it make it life hell for him if he's a part of the Congress?
You know, that really depends on the role that is assigned for him and the support that
Hmm.
he will get from his bosses. Um, the the family matters most in the Congress
Yes.
as it stands today, And if the family decides to throw their entire weight behind him, then like it happened in Punjab, everybody else will just have to lump it and take it.
Hmm.
So, is that a good thing for Prashant Kishore? The answer simply is, if he has what it takes to sustain a campaign for a party which is as much on the back foot as the Congress, and his analysis is something which the family buys, then sure, he has more than a fighting chance to make space for himself. Also, don't forget, the Congress is going through a generational shift, which is very obvious to anyone who's watching it purely clinically.
Yes. But Prabhakar, suppose Prashant Kishore actually decides to become a Neta. Why would he want to choose a party like the Congress?
See, actually, you'll have to actually go back in the history as to how Prashant Kishore started his career. And his first job as a political strategist, a successful job as a political strategist, was with Narendra Modi when he was
Hmm.
when
Correct.
the first Lok Sabha election happened.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. I think I
Relation, I would
have a
say, with
problem with Prabhakar. We're going to go back to him in a bit. So, Dilip, do you want to go take on from where he left?
Sure,
I mean,
I
why,
think
yeah,
that
why would he want to choose? Yeah.
I think that
Yeah,
it's best
Prabhakar
to,
is back. I'm
yeah.
sorry. So, Dilip, I'm
Sure,
sorry.
go ahead,
Prabhakar. Yeah,
go ahead,
Prabhakar,
go ahead.
continue. Continue.
Yeah, Pallavi, I was. You'll have to see the span of the Prashant Kishore's career as a political strategist, and see, this is a career which nobody thought there would be a career like this, where somebody from a non-political background would come and actually preach and teach the people who have lived and breathed politics all their lives. So Prashant Kishore, this his first successful and the mega operation was when the Narendra Modi first fought the election for the Lok Sabha and became the prime minister. He was parked there, we all know, was there in Ahmedabad, and he was kind of looking after the entire campaign. Since then, somehow Prashant Kishore's personal equation with the BJP big names like Narendra Modi and Amit Shah, it has not been very cozy. So Prashant Kishore somehow, since then, since the first time Narendra Modi became the prime minister, we have what we have seen, Prashant Kishore is drifting away from the BJP. He had also got the opportunity to work with Nitish Kumar, but somehow that also did not work. After the post election, that relationship became very bitter. So Prashant Kishore, if he is not very cozy with the BJP top brass, then the only option he has actually is to go in the camp which is the anti BJP, and that's why probably he has chosen Congress, I would say. And
Hmm.
from what we learned, that after all those rounds of meeting with Prashant Kishore has done with the Congress leaders and the leaders of opposition, so they're basically you'd very soon be seeing Prashant Kishore actually batting for or campaigning for Rahul Gandhi. So he has basically a uphill task on his hand to
Yes,
take Rahul
absolutely.
Gandhi out of that Pappu image, which has somehow become has stuck with him, and he has to take him out of that and take him to a different level. So that is the assignment
Okay.
which we know has been given to Prashant Kishore, and probably he's on the job.
Yeah. So one last question to you, Dilip. I mean, you've been around. There have been many other agencies and firms who actually have done the job of doing an image makeover. But a Prashant Kishore coming in, there's a lot of hype about him, and there are many people coming in. Do you think finally, because I know you also used to get a lot of cynicism, why do we need people like him when you have political parties to do the job? Do you think finally Indian politics is accepting the fact that political strategists are very much apart and legal and a perfectly reasonable and logical option to look at for any political party? Because I think almost every political party is opting for them.
When I started doing this political campaign stuff, it was a bit of a loner job. And over the
Yes.
years, we've seen lots of people come up, lots of people do things. But keep in mind that Prashant Kishore runs a very large operation. The IPAC creature is a very hungry creature. It needs to be fed. The numbers are enormous. The expenses are huge. And the people on the ground are phenomenally large. So Prashant Kishore has to also find a source to fund that kind of an operation if he gives up being an outside consultant and becomes part of Team Rahul or Team Congress. So that is the big change that I think is to be seen. And also, don't forget that globally, you've never had strategists actually join political parties. They always remain outside. A
Yes.
role which I have preferred to keep to myself, because I may advise people, but I will not get into a situation where I'm part and parcel of that machine.
Absolutely. But that's very interesting you say that, Dilip. And I remember you were the lone one, you were the first one, and I remember how much criticism you faced at that point of time. Well, there's only one man who can answer whether Prashant Kishor is going to be joining and whether you're going to become a Neta, and that's Prashant Kishor himself. He's not talking yet. But thank you so much, both to you, Dilip, as well as Prabhakar, as always, for your deep insights. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pallavi.